불멸의 전사 2.
Yeah, to be honest, even though I voted for Deer, I would hope to see Seed win here. I think it would make the series more interesting, and to be like, oh well, this guy's the coach, but he's really on fire right now.
I like that picture of Deer here.
Yeah. As you guys can see, Deer has been fielded 11 times. Seed, as I mentioned, more of the coach now, has only been fielded 3 times. He's 0-1 versus Protoss. Deer's 2 losses in PvPs are both games versus Hero, CJ Hero, where he was ahead. So, I mean, if he had done a little bit better in those games, he'd actually have a perfect record in PvP in Pro League. Of course, he did just lose to Zest, but Zest on another level. There's also 2-0 over Seed, including unofficial matches.
So this is going to be a real David versus Goliath match here.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Seed because we just don't see him play that much. He's so smart.
Especially in the early days. He was like one of my favorite players in early StarCraft 2. And yeah, this is no surprise. Everybody here voting for Deer. It would be a huge upset if Seed took this. But Seed is, just, like we were saying, in the early days of Wings Liberty especially, a very smart player, very sneaky player. Expect anything. This is game number 2. Introducing our players in the upper right in the red, it is Deer. And in the upper left in the blue, his opponent, Seed.
I want to talk about Seed for a little bit because he's actually a GSL champion. Like Deer, both of them a one-hit wonder, as they say, as they were 2 Protosses who were champions once. Deer got as close as he's ever been in the round of 4, but lost to Zest. And Seed, on the other hand, ever since his championship, has never been able to come back to where he once was. But it says a lot about a player who was a champion so long ago. I want to say that was 2012. He beat MC, who was also a multi-time GSL champion.
In the shortest GSL Code S finals of all time, I believe.
And when you were talking,
we got a little bit of background here. This is when we toured around with GSL at the time through Korea.
Yeah.
So we got the Hyundai Beach, which is one of the nicest and probably the most famous beach in Korea. We build a whole set out there, okay? We're so excited for these games. Hyundai Beach looks great at night, okay? Then it's a 3-0. The sun had not even set, man. I was actually pretty bummed out. I was like, damn it. Wouldn't it have been nice to just actually have this go into the evening and have this be a long show?
Yeah. And you know the other funny thing about that same tournament was Callor and I were casting the GSTL finals either the day before or the day after, and that was also an all-kill that Gumiho performed over Slayers. So that also ended basically before it became nighttime. And before it became that was the 2 worst finals in Busan of all time. But yeah, Seed was one of the smartest players. He's most famous for, I'd say, even though this was a long time ago, hallucinating Immortals on Lost Temple to do a fake push while fake expanding.
Oh, that's where Tasteless had a brain orgasm when he saw that, man. That was just absolutely amazing. Like, the game was so new back then. And to see somebody do something that advanced,
and
it was like way ahead of its time.
Hallucination had to be researched in order to do this. Like, Hallucination is now like an upgrade that just comes on the Sentry, but you used to have to research it for 100 at the Cybernetics core, and it was not a fast research either. This was like a genius plan that no one could have ever expected. And it was never really used again. It was like a one-time off, really cool strategy. We see differences in the builds here as we see a Adept opening coming out from Deer, whereas Seed is going for the more sturdy Stalker opening. 2 variations as how you can open the, of course, Stalker opening, a little bit more expensive, but you are going to be a bit sturdier versus these Adepts. And they're actually going to shade up to him, but not going to commit because
that would be unwise. You'd be right on top. Yeah, on top of those Stalkers like that. So Seed's going for a very defensive play. Deer, you can come in there and end up killing a bunch of workers or doing a lot of damage, but this essentially for the red Protoss Deer, it sets up a pin. So Seed is not going to feel comfortable leaving his base because these Adepts might shade in and start killing off a lot of workers. And he can also keep poking in like this and scouting. And okay, I did not actually expect him
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like a mistake.
I think so, because you could see how he moved after he did it, where he was like, do I want to commit? I mean, he gets a probe for an Adept and scouts a Nexus, but that wasn't necessary. I think the most important thing to note about the Adept opening is it gives you vision control, because you can force, like you said, the Stalkers to stay home. Otherwise, the Adepts will get in your base and get harassed and get scouting. So Deer's base is hidden. His tech is hidden.
Oh, he's going to go try to assassinate this unit.
Yeah,
this is smart. You know, guys, this was not part of the plan, so he managed to get that Adept away, but now this Adept is on the run, and it is going to be picked off. And I got to say, this is the kind of errors coming from Deer that Seed would certainly need if he was going to win this game. So we might have to reevaluate how the rest of this game is going to go out. Deer seems to be a little bit off. Now, let's not forget as well, Deer just got smashed by Zest, okay?
His confidence is probably not in a good place.
Exactly. I mean, Deer was playing well, but I can only imagine how it felt to be in those games. Anybody who's played StarCraft knows that feeling where you think you're doing pretty well, and then whatever you do, they just stop.
Yeah.
Like, every time you leave your base, you die. You know that feeling?
Yeah, it's like...
You're like, I'm losing my mind
and
here.
you're also, I mean, you're a GSL champion, and no one respects you as well as they should, because it's been a long time since you were a champion. You finally make it so far, and you're like, this could be it. I do it again. I become a GSL champion again.
Now's my time.
And then you just get totally shreked. You're so confident, and all of that is shattered in an instant.
It's number 1 versus number 2. We don't know which one's which. And then by the end, we're like, oh, okay, we know who number 2 is for sure, Deer. It's you.
Yeah.
In fact, you know, only because numbers work in this way, we probably put you at like number 3 or 4, because Zest is so much better than you. But all right, so I'm wondering if some of these misplays to wrap this all up. I'm wondering if some of these misplays here from Deer are still from that poor performance in that last GSL.
Certainly possible. You know, I have to agree. I'd say there's a correlation there. We see a 2 Adept drop coming over. Now we can commit more to this if he finds a window, because the Warp Prism is a great dropship. It's the most versatile dropship, because not only can it carry units, but it can also warp in units, so it can turn a small drop into a big drop in a matter of seconds. It looks like he's just going to use these for a scout, in fact. Well,
no, he's going to scout with a hallucination, but he wants to see if he can send these Adepts in.
Yeah.
And so he's going to come in right now. And I note the Stalkers mostly are in the middle of the map, so this is a bit of a problem here. Now he's just going to get out of the range of that pylon, and these are basically going to go down. Oh, no, they're not. They actually managed to get down over here. I thought the pylon was going to get him a little bit faster.
Gets 5 probes, maybe 6. Oh, let's get the last shot off.
Excuse me.
Gets a full scout of the base with the Phoenixes as well, and Seed does have Blink, so he can actually do a lot with this with good control. Forces the barrier, and once the barrier wears off, he could actually maybe commit.
Well,
doesn't have a pylon,
I would run if I were him. The Immortal's kind of scary. Also, you know, he never, like we're seeing here, he never knew what happened to the Warp Prism. So it looks like I guess the attacks are going to continue onward.
Yeah, this is going to be really annoying for Seed, because he did commit to a Warpin coming across the map.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's another Warpin he doesn't have at home. He doesn't have overcharges anymore. It looks like, okay, there it is. And he can't break this ramp now that there's 2 Immortals out.
Yeah, 2 Immortals and Guardian Shield just add insult to injury.
He's just going to keep warping in 2x2. It's Deer's Arc, man.
Bring 2 of every unit onto Deer's Arc. A male Adept and a female Adept.
This time, I guess he's going to get a Sentry. Didn't commit to the probes here this time, but
even getting that 1 Sentry is pretty annoying. You know, right now Deer's army is much more complex, and sophisticated. So Seed needs to get more units, like a few Sentries, a very small number of Sentries, Immortals, anything else he can get out here, and even taking that 1 Sentry out's annoying.
Now the key here, I think, is that it keeps Seed's army from harassing. But Seed's had this 3rd Nexus up for much longer. Deer just now getting his Nexus up and mining. So, you know, if you look at the economy, though, in probes, Deer does have a better economy, or better probe count, so his saturated bases are going to be better. So he can make up for that. Seed is getting Disruptor tech first. He's actually just kind of skipping Immortals entirely here and just looking for that AoE damage.
Well, I think that's the way he's going to have to play it, right? Unless he was going to double robo it later on. The issue is really, like, if he's got more Immortals than you by 3 and you just start your own Immortals, you're just always going to be behind. There's no way. And so let's see what he does here. I wouldn't be surprised with the number of Stalkers he has if he just tries to go into Disruptors or something like that. Yeah.
It looks like Deer is transitioning with Storm and Tempest tech. And I believe he got his own Blink. Yeah, he did. He hasn't just used it defensively, now using it for the first time to poke a little bit. And Deer does have 3 fully saturated bases. He has actually a bit of a surplus of probes at 60. He's even going to kill his pylons so no warp ends can go across. First harass here from Seed, though, with a warp prism. Going to come down 4 adepts. He should be able to save those. The warp prism can't attack, so it's not going to be able to chase the other prism.
He just picks that up and backs out, but that is going to put a minor threat here that obviously Deer is going to have to be cognizant of, is that, okay, if I move too far out, he's going to drop these adepts and possibly warp in a ton of units. And as we can see here from Seed, it is going to be the disruptor play coming here now. Now what Deer's doing, he's actually going to bank Phoenixes, and this is going to be to catch the disruptors. So when the disruptors come out, now he doesn't see the Phoenixes yet, which is, by the way, or unless he sent a hallucinated unit in there, but I don't think he did.
So. I don't think
he actually got in there and saw that. But anyways, to the point, when he hides the Phoenixes like this, all of a sudden they're going to pop out. You know, let's say you got 6 Phoenixes. They're going to pick up all the disruptors, and then Deer's going to go in for the kill.
Yeah. That's basically the name of the game here. He's not going for Tempest as I originally suspected. I thought he might be just trying to build this massive army with Tempest and maybe get a mothership.
I think the thing about the Tempest, because we have seen that used in some games, I think it's because of the shape of the map, right? Like the Tempest, this is like just this open map where they could get under it.
Yeah.
But I think Tempest, like in some cases, I think you can use them kind of to turtle.
Yeah, it's like better on like Orbital Shipyard, for example, but not so much here. Either way, I mean, the Phoenixes are still hidden, so he needs to be careful with how he engages with the disruptors. And also, Phoenixes can, if left unchecked, if the game just kind of slows down for a minute, go in and wipe probe lines. When you have enough of them, you just go in there, you kill a whole probe line.
Oh yeah, well that's what, if you win a big battle, you just send those down there and start massacring probes. Now Deer is using these spotter stalkers here to just try to check and see, when is Seed going to move out, because if they get position on you with disruptors, it's hard to break them. Obviously, that's what the Phoenixes are for here. And by the way, he's going to reveal those.
Yep, going to kill the Prism. They're going to lift up all these Adepts. 2 probe kills only here. Not a huge investment for Seed to lose this, but that means he no longer has that backdoor threat. And Seed is adding his own Stargate now, but he's never going to be able to compete with the Phoenix count. Not initially. It's going to take a long time before he catches up in that. Yeah,
he's going to try to come in. Deer is going to try to come in here and actually take Seed out. He's got a lot of Immortals. He's got these Zealots to tank damage in the front. It's going to be tough. Ideally, Seed would want to have gunned down the Stalkers and hit them right before the Disruptors can come in there. But that's a tall order. 181 supply to 158. He's getting closer now.
There's a lot of Stalkers for Seed here. 31, though. And I'm not sure if these Phoenixes, even though he lifts the Disruptors temporarily, I'm not sure if this is enough. If he commits to a fight and loses it, it'll be an overextension. Forcing a cancel on the Nexus, though, is a great first step. And I don't think he needs to push it much further than that. He's going to open up a pathway here. Not going to attack into the choke point, just going to look for another opening. He's trying to get Seed into a bad angle where he can take a good fight.
Yeah, well, also, if you look at it, Seed, it's a clunky area to move an army that big through from the second base to the third base in that little valley there. And you want to make sure your disruptors are in a good position, and it's not going to be as easy to set up as he's going back and forth here.
Deer's ahead in every way, though. He has better economy. Sure. He's got +3 coming up. You know, he's 1 upgrade advantage ahead and a half, basically. He's got 3 faster than 2 is. For Seed. And he's also transitioning to his own disruptor tech. He can use that eventually to his advantage. He's adding more gateways. He's adding all that extra production for the better economy that he has, for the bank that he's building. And he's just continually using his own death ball to make sure that no 4th base can ever be made.
Yeah, this is a smart play, I think, from Deer. Is he's looking at this, he's saying, okay, it's 1 game, I'm good, I'm ahead. But all I got to do is play a slow, steady, safe game.
It's a siege, basically, He's starving him out.
Yeah, exactly. He's got him sieged up here. And he may very well start warping in pylons outside of this base so that really there's no way for him to ever get out.
Oh, look at this snipe on the Mothership Core as well. Even if he loses a Phoenix for it, it's totally worth it.
Okay, but the Mothership Core does get away, 2 HP.
Oh my god, he did get away. I didn't even realize that. My brain turned off that part of everything. I was like, no, there's no way it gets out.
Well, still, I mean, it's so bruised now with this many Phoenixes. Okay, hold up. The Phoenixes are not in position right now.
Yeah, this is one of the weaknesses of the army of Deer. It doesn't have a lot of blink stalkers, so if a disruptor shot goes off, I mean, he has to split. He can't just blink. And this is a large mobile blink stalker army for Seed.
Okay, some force fields go up. That's just enough to back this army off here. The Phoenixes need to regroup with the rest of this army.
He has an observer here too, so he can see past the line of sight blocker. That's really important. Okay, down it goes though. This is a scary spot, man, for Deer. Like, Phoenixes are coming over, but there's so many disruptors.
The disruptors coming in, targeting the disruptors here of Seed. Beautiful job there. Seed, though, presses forward, guns down to disruptors.
I'm starting to like Seed's army comp. If he can actually, make sure he doesn't lose disruptors like that. his army is a lot more mobile.
Well, my concern, though, is Deer has so much money. If they both get into huge blows and start trading units, Deer is going to have a bigger army when it's all said and done and he has to remake.
Ooh, he's kind of out here very aggressively. He might get stuck in here. There's not a lot of room to retreat, and Phoenixes are caught first. He does get out of the choke point at least. Where's the disruptor shots? Oh my god!
Oh, and he has the DTs on the disruptors right now. There's the play you needed to see. Taking out the remainder of the disruptors. It's a pure stalker army, and there's just not anything that Seed can do against this.
Seed just totally getting out-microed here. The DTs are such a nice touch. And that's game. He's down 100 supply. He doesn't have a bank.
That was beautiful. Again, I got to highlight, he had these DTs. He made 3. We saw him a few minutes ago back there. He sent those and right-clicked on the disruptor. And that's because he gunned down that observer in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
They are playing an absolutely beautiful game here. And I think this is the beginning of the end here. It's 189 supply to 104.
Look at
and
this
if you look at
units
the
count.
minerals,
Like, he's got 22 stalkers, but no support for them whatsoever.
yeah, no.
Not even an observer, so he still doesn't have detection for the DTs.
And so it's going to be one base after another razed and destroyed here by Deer. As there's just, this is checkmate, man. There's no way that Seed can come back.
Look at this, DTs, no detection still. Not even an observer making. And, I mean, yeah, he's got blink stalkers, but so what? I think the key here is Seed lost all his disruptors. GG.
GG.
Like, he was losing disruptors to disruptor shots. He was losing them to DTs. Deer, even though his army positioning looked risky, I feel like he knew that he was going to bait a fight that was going to be his fight. He knew there was no observer. Yeah. He's like, all right, if I do this, he's going to think this is the best moment to fight. And I'm going to trick him into thinking he's going to take a good fight. But he didn't split his disruptors versus Deer's disruptor shots. And he got DTs on his army, he didn't have an observer, he never made one either. It was almost that simple. And as you mentioned, even if the fight didn't go that one-sided, he had 10 times the bank, essentially, of Seed, and more bases, better upgrades. He controlled that entire game.
Wow, it started out pretty close, back and forth, but by the end, Deer had a lead in every way imaginable. And that's going to tie this up for now at 1-1.
Yeah, we're going into another TBT after this one with Bravo versus Ryong. But good to see Deer keep his composure about himself despite some weird wonky control mistakes perhaps in the beginning after losing that PvP to Zest, because Zest is just on another level. He's another one of these Protoss champions, one-timers, as we were talking about.
We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we'll go to game number 3 here in tonight's Pro League 2016. Stay tuned.